Welcome Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu.
Hi everyone, Daphne Lage here. Join Nita Lanning and me on the Ragin' to the Vlogs show, where we talk about everything, nothing, and all the bits in between. Looking for hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, and crowdfunding, with the occasional rant and story time? Head on over to the Ragin' 2 channel on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern to join in the chat.
Hit the button.
And good evening, everybody. It is the open-ish kind of mic night. It's the night where, if you want to talk about something, let us know in the chat, and we'll get you a link, and you can pop on in here and talk about it. Maybe we gatekeep here, and proudly do so. Glad to say that we gatekeep this channel. Usual gang is with us. We're hoping some more people pop in. We have Mike Walters from the Mic Stand. Mike, how are you doing tonight, sir?
All right. How about yourself?
I'm tired. It was a 6-hour driving day turned into a 9-hour driving day between, source and destination, because I stopped for 3 hours in Springfield, Missouri at an AMC theater to, stop and see a movie called The Batman. So that's, going to be a thing. George, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Greetings, everybody. I got a big announcement to make. Can you share my screen?
I can do that. Give me just a second. Here,
hey, RJ, you got some. I think.
That's what I'm taking care of. I read the streams. I do what you got here.
All right, this is my big announcement.
Well, there it is. It's big and it says announcement. Fantastic. Before I get
does it again.
Yes, he does. He not as well as he did it to Shay the other night on her stream. But
you want me to share my screen with that and show your audience?
Absolutely, yes. Share that up here, please, because that was a classic. George showed up. George said something. George left, and that was.
And the reverberations were still going.
Yes, they were, absolutely. James is here. Hey, how you doing, man?
Good evening, everybody.
Long time no see.
Yeah, my schedule got changed, so I'm off on Sundays now. So.
What the hell, James? What's with the haircut?
No, actually, I haven't got it cut. It's usually shorter than this.
Oh, okay. All right. I think.
Well, I think we did notice it did look different now.
Tell me if you can hear the sound.
Ivory.
Did you hear that?
I heard that. Yes.
Yeah. One that had the big swoop down. Yeah.
Yeah. The old Sherlock.
Yeah.
What's up, George?
Greetings, guys. Greetings, everybody. You know what? I always bring a piece of paper to a wrestling match just in case The Rock's my opponent.
Oh God!
But I'm changed.
Cheers, everybody.
Oh my God.
I hate that took me a half a second. He literally only joined for that. It's the only reason he popped in.
Well, that's George.
That
That's what
was
George
rude.
does.
Holy shit.
I think that was very
and out and just.
It's like in Seinfeld when you pop in, you tell a joke.
Yep. Yeah. George is the Kramer of the internet.
So you saw the Batman?
Yes, I did. And next Saturday we'll be actually talking about in depth. We can talk about it some tonight, obviously, but
I saw it.
You don't sound more than nonplussed about it.
I was. Well, I mean, I'll put it like this: it's the best DC movie they've had besides Joker in the last 6 years.
I'll give it that too. Yeah.
I'll give it that. I had some issues with it on some things. I thought his portrayal of Bruce Wayne, I'm like, really? Bruce Wayne is supposed to be opposite of Batman, and it seemed like you could take the mask off, put the mask on, and it's the same guy.
Yeah, he was, but he also wasn't. He also
This was-
wasn't putting on the front yet.
Yeah,
He still
this was young Bruce Wayne, year 2.
Yeah, I understand. It's just there were some things in it that I just a couple. It's just it's minor things,
Yeah, he has to learn how to be Bruce Wayne. He is the Batman.
That's another thing I'm getting tired of. Is it's always we got to back up to the beginning. We got to back up to the beginning. Why? I mean, why? Why can't we just have Batman, and he's been there doing it for a while. He's the Batman that we're used to in the comics, which I'm not going to bring up. But hey.
Well, they didn't go back and retell the origin. They just, referred to the murder, and there was still, a murderer out there at some point.
Yeah, but
we didn't have to watch the whole alleyway, pearls dropping, reflected in water scene again.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. It just. I mean, the other thing was it dragged.
Okay, all right. You're just an angry son of a bitch. Let's move on. Gosh darn it.
Hey, before we get too far into the stream tonight, I do want to give one quick shout out and a thank you. We did the LCS guys show last night, and about 30 minutes into it, Mr. Ethan Van Sciver dropped in to bring us some viewers. We're very, very thankful. Thank you very much, Mr. Van Sciver, for popping in.
Hey,
Always welcome. Would love to have you on for a personal interview sometime, just to talk about your books and your process. But I know you have your own channel that you can do that on too. So.
And I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to Critical Blast. They did a fantastic shipping job with what was it? The books you just sent out.
You got the Embrace.
Yeah. Perfect shipping, no problems, nothing damaged. It was fantastic. Great job.
We do our best.
That's not Comicsgate. Where's the Ziplocs?
First of all, he got it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
No, but hey, speaking of Ziploc, there was a Ziploc bag in there with goodies.
Okay.
That wasn't a Ziploc bag. I
didn't
rolled that bag over and taped it.
That you could open and close and reseal.
Yes, there was a resealable bag.
Yeah.
There was he had some buttons and he had the glow in the dark
I had the whole thing. I had the whole shebang. So
yeah,
very happy
absolutely.
with it. The book's actually really good too. If you haven't read it, it's a real good story.
I haven't read it because guess what? we got to get a few more copies in. We ran close to the wire on it, and I wasn't going to read anybody else's copy. Wait till everything is done before, and then I'll read. If there's something left, I'll read that. But yeah, I mean, I better not. That's a Jenga pile right there. I have one small stack of the Embrace left here, and all of it is waiting for a shipment from Australia of original art and signed books. And once I have that, this is the last batch to go out. So
very good, very good.
It's everything that's going to Europe because I didn't want to give 2 European shipments. I'm like, you know what? We're just going to wait until we get the autographs and the ones that ordered and send it one time. So be glad to have it out and done. And in the middle of all that, we also did Exilium, which was a ton of books. And I did some experiments with international shipping. I'm going to see how they pan out. International is basically being Canada shipping because I've never had any problem sending a box of books to Australia or to Europe. But boy, howdy, when I sent a box of books to Canada, did they say, "Oh, you sold books? We'd like some of that money, please." So,
the one thing I've noticed about sending stuff to Canada is it gets to the border, it sits for 30 days.
Yeah.
I'm not making this up. It does. It sits right there on the border for 30 days for quarantine reasons before they will ship it further.
Well, is the quarantine not lifted? I mean, Illinois, of all places, lifted the mask restrictions.
No, I'm talking about this is the Canadian border. Mine, okay. I sent North Free. I actually sent him artwork, and it got flagged for 30 days on the border. But he got it.
Yeah, Canada's a bunch of pussies.
we better let that box sit there in case it has a cold.
It's got the cooties.
It's got the cooties.
Yeah.
See, I'm
Well,
looking
I think what their argument would be in that case is that, you know, that the germs would actually be on the box, and therefore by touching the box, you could get the
Spray it with Lysol.
I'll be right back. I have something that's going to impress George.
Oh, well, now that's got to be something big.
Oh, look at the time. I got to go. It's been a good show.
Yeah, great show. Glad you all made it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I think Red Valkyrie is streaming again.
I've got to jump in on one of her shows, but again, it's Friday, and I usually take Fridays off for travel and things I'm doing that I just don't want to have to rush home and try to go too fast.
Okay, George.
Yeah.
Take a look at this.
I shall give this the big screen because this looks like
come on! What the hell? What are you doing to me?
Okay, what exactly are you showing us?
This chick. This is the hottie from Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger.
This is Carolyn Monroe, and here's something about her. If you didn't know, this is the girl that in this movie. 3 months later, they designed Talia al Ghul. They used her as the reference.
Oh, cool!
And not only that, but I got this too.
Oh, you bugger.
Well, look at that. Okay, well, since we're playing that game, I shall.
Okay, well, RJ's looking at it. I got a Beard and Butcher's sticker. There you go.
Oh, look at that! Gospel barbecue. There we go.
Oh, you got Yolanda.
Yvonne Craig.
Yeah. Very nice.
One of my very, very happy to collected pieces.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh no.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Met him at a.
I got a Narwhal sticker. So there.
I didn't see the sticker. A narwhal sticker. I didn't know you could collect narwhals.
Yeah, you can collect narwhals, and just to make it also interesting, I also got a USB power plug right here. Look at that.
I just found out that God invented 6-inch power strips or 6-inch extension cords.
Yeah,
and I am so happy.
Also have an X-Acto knife. Look at that. It's slightly dulled.
I got a purple Sharpie. We're just showing stuff off our desk now. But no, I was like, I saw these 6-inch extension cords. I'm like, holy shit, I need these in my life. Because, George, you remember, I've told you how I've wired my room.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, now I've got two power strips, one plugged into the other and one plugged into the wall. Because you know how it is. You plug in a printer, you plug in a laptop, you plug in a monitor, and that's all it takes because they come with these bricks that cover things. But like with these little extension cords, just flop off to the side. I just plug it in. I plug the brick into that. And what's more than that, the plugs are passed through. So there's a plug on top of the plug. I just doubled all my output on these things.
So James, what's got you so fixated there?
Mike's really interested in that.
No, I have an autographed picture for AJ, but I took a picture of it because I don't want to go pull it off the wall. So I'm just trying to find it on my computer. But since you brought her up,
Alan Parsons isn't as attractive, but
since you brought her up, I actually have two pictures.
AJ who?
Styles?
For RJ, I'm sorry, not AJ. I actually have two pictures. So we can find both of them. But one is, I'll have to go. I'm gonna go get them probably because I can't find them. But I'll just tell you who it is. I have the iconic Star Wars picture autographed by Harrison Ford and by I just forgot his name. The gentleman who played Chewbacca from the
Peter
1960s.
Mayhew.
Peter Mayhew, yes. Where they're of Han Solo and Chewbacca, where they're holding the guns in the Death Star.
Nice.
From
Good picture.
1930s, when they did the tour in '78, remember?
Yeah.
I got
Well,
that one.
James, did you hear that Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And actually I've been actually starting to do a few more wrestling news stories on my newscast as well, starting to do that a little bit more. But actually I've even subbed to the NWA's and Impact Wrestling's YouTube channel, so I've been like watching some of their stuff. The NWA, NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, under Billy Corgan, does look pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's getting people. He's really is. He's really trying to do things.
Okay. I had to pull this one off the wall because I have to keep it in a frame.
But the other picture that I'm trying to find you.
Is that all three?
That's all three.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have
Adam West, Yvonne Craig, and Burt Ward.
But I actually have on Batman number 500. I have Adam West's signature. On Catwoman number 1, I have Jim Ballant and Julie Newmar's signature.
Julie Newmar. Yeah.
And then I have the 8x10 from Batman Returns of Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer, autographed by both, where she licks his face. That was the one I was trying to find you, but
you just have is like every wall of your house, corner to corner, autographed framed pictures.
Pretty much.
Or Xenoscope prints.
Most of it is.
Well, not every wall, RJ, because you can tell behind him right there, he's got the shells of the.
He's got to have a shelf for the belts.
Oh, yeah. Really? Look above.
Okay, I stand corrected.
The man with the connections. I've only got a few of these signed things, but
the thing that for me is I started going to conventions and stuff, movie conventions and stuff, back in the 80s, and then comic book conventions, early 80s going through the 90s. And everybody, especially in the 90s, everybody came to conventions. And you could get signatures from everybody.
Yeah.
So, of course, I kept all mine. I have all mine. I've got, you name an artist, and I got Stephen Platt, Jim Lee, Michael Turner, Scott Clark, Stephen Hughes,
Now, James, when you went to these conventions, this was the era, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the era where you paid to get in the convention, and you were in the convention. It wasn't you paid to get into the convention, and then it was like Disney. You had to pay to get into this line.
No. When I went, it was you paid to get in the convention, and then you were in, and everybody. The only thing was when Image came. Nice.
I have an authentic. I have an Adam West signature and the new USB 6 power supply that just came out yesterday.
Nice. But
of course you do.
The conventions. This is the thing about the conventions back then, and you would buy your tickets, and then you would go in, and that was it.
Yeah.
Now they did. Now once X-Men #1 came out, and the X stuff came out back when Jim got famous and stuff, they had to do. You had to get in line. You had to get a ticket to get in line, but the tickets were free, and they limited to autographs of 2 books apiece. That was what it was, but you didn't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, that was just crowd control then.
Yeah, it was just crowd control then. The one I liked the most was one that I went to. It was bad weather. All the artists canceled. A lot of people didn't show up, but there was Rob Liefeld and Michael Turner. They were the only 2 that showed up on Sunday.
They were busy guys.
Oh, no.
Hey, Nita, you want to come in and join us and sit around and talk for a while? Let me know. I'll shoot you the link.
It was so slow that day that I was able to go home and get more books to bring up for Rob to sign.
Oh, wow. Raging 2. That's the 2 girls who were being promoted at the beginning, right?
And,
Yeah, that's Nita and Daphne.
And Rob,
I'll be right back.
To his credit, back then, would sign anything. He would sign anything. Now I will say this: in '88, when I met Jim the first time, before when he was doing Alpha Flight, before he was doing X-Men, he was very approachable. He was, he didn't have a crowd. He was just Jim Lee and Scott Williams. They were sitting together, and you could get it. You get to talk to him and stuff for a long time. That's how I got information stuff from him on how to fix my anatomy when I was drawing. That's why if you look at my stuff, it does look a lot like his, because basically I took what he showed me and just kept doing it over and over and over.
Yeah, you applied it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But yeah, it has changed. It's changed a lot. Now, the last convention I was at, that I actually took part in, they just did it the old style. You got in, you got to see everybody.
That's what I love about a convention that does that. But it's been so long since I've been to a comic book convention.
That's what this was. This was not a fan expo. This was a comic book convention. We're going to have it. I'm going to plug it. Arlington Comic Con is going to be April 15th. I think it's. Hold on, let me pull up the calendar just to make 100% certain because I don't want to say the wrong day. But it is going to be April 15th and 16th, which is a Friday and Saturday because they're not going to do it on Easter. But it is 15th and 16th in Arlington, Texas, at the Bob Duncan Center. I will be there, and there's going to be quite a few others. They're trying to get Red Booth to come in.
Is that the Comic Fest?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be in Arlington. So great. The people that put it on are great, real friendly. They really interact. They give a lot of communications with people before the convention, so we know where we're going, we know where the thing is, and they always have it catered, so it's it's really good.
I put a link out there for it.
So, but yeah, I'm going to be there. I was there last year. I had a really good time last year. So,
yeah, it's been forever since I've been to a comic convention that's not been a hey, we have actors here and nostalgia people here, and you got to buy extra tickets to get in line with them for your one thing.
Yeah, I understand. We had a lot of local celebrities, people there. Who was there? Can't remember exactly. I had to get the list out of who was there last time. But we had it was a good crowd, good time.
Well, with Michael Turner and Rob Liefeld being all by themselves there that day, I'm guessing not much turnout in the way of fans either for that. I hope that when you went back to get more stuff, you said, guys, I'm going to be right back. Here's a pile of money. Original artwork, please.
Well, not exactly, but close. This is the whole thing that went down that day. Kelsey, Shannon, and I were roommates at the con. And Friday we got there, and Rob was coming in on Saturday. So I had laid out my pages I was going to show Rob. And so I can't remember exactly what Kelsey did, but he spilt his drink on the pages. Oh, yeah. So it's 11:30 at night. The show's going to open up at 11 o'clock. Rob will be there at 12. I got basically 12 hours to draw 4 pages. I stayed up all night redrawing those pages from scratch, from memory. So we go the next day. Now, I am really worried about showing it to Rob. So I actually waited till Sunday to show it because, the crowd was there Saturday, but Sunday. Because Rob said he was going to be there Sunday. So I get there, and the drawings I did were of Ballistic and Ripclaw going through a sewer fighting gargoyles. So that's what I drawn. So while Michael is doing I showed the artwork to Michael. Michael passes the artwork over to Rob. They're sitting side by side. And I'm like, oh no. I'm just like, because I'm really worried because, I'm not used to drawing 4 pages in 11 hours. And Rob's looking at them. He goes through them. He looks at them again. He looks at them a third time. And he hands them back to me and he goes, redraw them with a sharp pencil and mail them to me. That's all he said. I got Michael to draw me an 11 by 17 picture of Velocity. I still have it.
Wow.
For $50.
Oh my God. That's $1,000 worth of work right there.
Yeah. This is back. 96. So this is 1996.
I love that man's art.
And yeah, it was real fun. That was, and Al Simmons, who worked for Todd, was there, and he saw him, and he wanted a photocopy of them because he was going to take them back. So I did a photocopy for him. He took them back, and then I got a notice to do a pinup for McFarlane. So I got to do a pinup for McFarlane. I redrew the pages. I sent them to Todd and to Rob. Rob sent me a script for just a test script for New Men. Remember New Men?
Yeah.
I did those. Never heard back from him.
Well, he probably wrote notes onto the side of what are these things he's drawing at the end of their legs?
No, but I mean, I never heard back from him. But what I did hear from was 3 professional wrestlers contacted me to do T-shirts for them because they were going to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling and wrestle. I did the shirts. They went over there. 6 months later, I got contacted by New Japan Pro Wrestling wanting me to be a designer for their logos and T-shirts. And the money they offered me, I couldn't pass up.
Well, no, you'd never turn down.
No, not that kind of money. And a free apartment? Oh, no, I'm out of here.
Oh, wait. Yeah. You got to go to Japan into a free apartment and just draw all day?
Pretty much, yeah.
Sweet.
So I did.
American mangaka.
Yeah, I made some good money there. So I bought my house and everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, if your apartment's free, what have you got to spend your money on? You just sock it all away.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I was making. What was I making?
You're making good money.
I was making 120K a year.
Wow. Yeah. That's. I don't know how far that goes in Japan for like essentials and stuff, but
it's 100. When I was there in '97, it was 118 yen to the dollar. But everything is basically they don't have cents, pennies. Yeah. So in dollars, it's just all yen. So basically, it was like 100 yen equals $1. That's how you were safe.
And that's back when $100,000 was real money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the inflation going on right now and what that's been doing.
Yeah, that's why.
Jeez.
That's why I have my house and my sports car and my motorcycle.
All paid off. Yeah.
No, the house is not paid off, but it's really close. I owe $15,000 on it. That's it.
It's raining buckets outside right now. Good. I like it. I like a dark, rainy night.
Oh, yeah, it was good. But yeah, no, Japan was really cool because I got to meet a lot of manga artists. And I always forget her name, but the lady who created Inuyasha, I got to meet her. And she is wonderful. In my opinion, she's one of the greatest females of comic books of all time.
Rumiko?
Yeah.
Rumiko Takahashi?
Yeah. She created.
The only way I know to pronounce Japanese correctly is to say it as fast as possible.
Exactly. But she did Ranma. She did Ranma 1/2. She did Inuyasha. She's done so much stuff. I think her books are sold like 65 million copies.
Wow, she should be like the J.K. Rowling of Japan then.
Oh yeah, well she was before J.K. Rowling. I mean, she started, back then. Thank you.
Nita had us backed up there. Yeah. The chat's slower on StreamYard. It's like if you typed it in, I won't see it for like 10 seconds for some reason. That's just the way StreamYard works.
And I got to meet the girl that was the voice actress and singer for Minmay for Macross, or here in the States, Robotech, the Japanese actress. And I got her autograph on one of the Macross Perfect Edition books.
We were watching a live action version of Battle of the Planets last night on George's channel. Or wasn't that what we were watching, George? Come on, back me up here.
Gatchaman came out in 2000?
Assignment Outer Space.
Oh, Assignment Outer Space. Okay, well it was 3 men and a woman in a spacecraft with helmets with visors. So I assume
No, there's actually 5. There's actually 4 guys and a girl.
Well, one of the guys got killed.
There is a live action movie that came out, I want to say 2014, and it's really good. I do recommend it. There is also a Battleship Yamato live action that is extremely good. It came out.
I still want to see. I need to see the original Gatchaman. I know I have not seen it. I've only seen the Seven Zark 7 stuff.
Oh, the original Gatchaman's fantastic.
I would.
Yeah, well, yeah. Of course, the interesting story about that is when they did bring it over here to the States, they had quite literally cut out like a third of the show, and that's how you got the Seven Zark 7.
Well, they had to Americanize it because the Japanese version is different. Same thing with, I'll tell you, the ones they really butchered was the Captain Harlock and the Galaxy Express 88 and Queen Emeraldus, and because they all merged all that.
And then of course there's the mashup of Beast Lion or Beast Go Lion and Armored Fleet Die Ruger.
Yeah, the horrendous Voltron disaster.
Because that was a mashup. Basically, they made Voltron out of two separate animes, and kind of mashed them.
If you think well, they did the same thing with Captain Harlock and the Queen of a Thousand Years, and they even did the same thing to Robotech. They used 3 completely different series for Robotech.
Yeah, the Maycross series.
Yeah, well, Voltron's out of St. Louis.
Which one?
Voltron is from a company owned in St. Louis. It's not really anime, is it?
Voltron is anime. It originally it started as anime.
Originally, it's anime. Voltron was you see what they did was Voltron is comprised of 2 separate animes.
Yeah.
Beast Go Lion, which came out in 81, and Armored Fleet Die Ruger 15, which came out in 82.
Well, see,
mashed them together.
What you have is you have American companies that are buying Japanese properties, and then they're watching and they're like going, no, we need to make the series longer for American TVs. So they'll take the 32-ish, 32 to 24 episodes, and then they'll put them together to make a new cartoon. So the actual Voltron, the actual title of Voltron is owned American company, but the cartoons it's based on are Japanese properties.
Okay. I get lost.
It's just like Battle of the Planets. Battle of the Planets is titled Battle of the Planets here in the States.
Yes.
It's titled Ninja Team Science
Ninja Team Gatchaman
over in Japan.
Yeah, and I heard that a lot of times they had to cut stuff out of Captain Harlock and out of Gatchaman because they looked and said, we're showing this to after school kids. No, we can't do this.
That's pretty much what they did with Battle of the Planets too, because Gatchaman had quite a bit more graphic material in it in terms of like the violent side of it.
But then they rolled out, not Funimation. I can't remember the company. They rolled out the '79 Flash Gordon cartoon.
Filmation.
Filmation. Thank you. When they rolled that sucker out, the only thing that saved them was they made Ming's army robots. That was it. Because that one scene where they fight in the Hawkman City, a lot of Hawkmen get killed. And
so you say this was a '79, and they redid the '79 one?
No, they left it alone. They let it air. They had a movie. They did a movie, and then they did a series. So there's 2 different things. There's the '79 movie, which is fantastic. It's probably one of the best Flash Gordon story animation ever made. I mean, just hands down, it's fantastic. They actually got ILM to do the special effects of all the airplanes and all the spaceships, and they animated over it. And it's just unbelievably fantastic. The TV series, they extended it to 2 seasons, but they didn't edit anything out. I mean, Aura is still all the way through that series trying to get Flash in bed. And she's laying on hay. She's, provocative, the whole thing. It's just kids, as little kids, you don't catch that. Adults, you do. It's just like Red Riding Hood in the Tex Avery cartoons. I mean, if you're 11 or 12-year-old, you don't see it. But if you're 14, 15, 16-year-old, and you see how that wolf's going, you do see it.
Yeah, but is the wolf salivating because he sees a potential meal, or is the wolf salivating because?
No. If you look at it, he it's not a, let's put it like this. He wants to have a good time tonight. And there she is. You know, I mean, let's just face it, because you look at how she's drawn, and they really do a number.
Well, actually, I think a lot of the cartoons of the 30s and 40s were kind of drawn that way, though.
So this was 1979, The New Adventures of Flash Gordon. And Princess Aura was one of my favorite voice actresses, Melindy Britt.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
Melindy
good.
Britt,
Voice-
yeah. She also
fantastic.
did She-Ra and Adora in She-Ra, Princess of Power. She did a number of voices on there.
Yes, but she did Batgirl for The New Adventures of Batman.
Yep.
Yeah. She was very popular.
I'll have to see if that's streaming anywhere and start watching it. Now, it looks like it's on YouTube. You can watch it there.
It's in parts. It's not the whole thing together. Well, the movie is.
Well, they also used Flash Gordon as part of another cartoon a few years after that.
The new something. Guardians
Defenders of the Earth is what I'm talking
Defenders
about.
of the Earth, yeah.
That came out in
Now that one I remember.
86. Now that one had Flash Gordon, Phantom, Mandrake the Magician, and Lothar, all characters, of course, from King Feature Syndicates, which back in the late 30s were being the King Feature Syndicate features were showing up in David McKay publications, comics, and Ace Comics, King Comics.
Yeah.
Feature
Now,
book.
didn't the animated series give them all teen sidekicks of some kind?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, they were all in some form or another like the respective heroes, kid or something. Like I think in Flash Gordon's case, it was his son. The Phantom, it was his daughter. I think in with Mandrake, the kid was kind of like an adopted apprentice.
Yeah.
And then,
they were all apprentices of some level.
Yeah, and then LJ, who is Lothar's son, was his son.
Now, the other thing is when you go to the actual, 82 movie or 84 movie with Sam Jones? Is that 82 or 84?
82, 84 movie what? What movie are you talking about?
Flash Gordon. Was that 82 or 84?
I don't know about that.
It's like 82.
1982. Okay, I will say this about that movie. The fan service is fantastic. Because, I mean, the rule was Princess Aura of Flash Gordon was the girl you wanted to party with. Leia was the one you took home to mama. Because, I mean, hands down, that lady that plays Aura in that movie is unbelievably beautiful.
I didn't find the movie, but I did.
Flash Gordon, 1982.
Yeah, that's what I was googling. Apparently, the series ended in 1902. But here's Princess. Here's Princess Aura reclining back in the head.
Right there.
Yeah, she's got one thing on her mind. You can tell that.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, Nita was commenting She-Ra.
Oh yeah, because voiced She-Ra, and I liked the She-Ra series. Back when it was on, it was the She-Ra, the He-Man stuff. It was all very simplistic, of course. But
listen, not that anyone really gives a shit, and no one, I think, gives a shit. But they came out with season 2 of He-Man, and no one's talking about it.
Are you talking about the modern He-Man with that Kevin Smith?
Yeah, the Kevin Smith. Yeah, the Kevin Smith.
There she is.
I'm actually surprised.
I had no idea there was a season 2. I knew they did the second half of Revelations.
No. This is a season 2. They did the first half and second half. This is season 2. No one gave a shit about it. No one's talking
Never even
about
heard it was out.
No one's talking about it.
Either.
I'll have to check out Netflix now because it's the follow-on to He-Man Revelations, or is it the new series that they did with, He-Man and the Shazam kids?
The new He-Man series has nothing to do with Revelations, the one that Kevin Smith did. It's gonna. The previews I saw, it puts them in the futuristic city and a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, the last one I saw that was coming was He-Man. He gets the power of Grayskull, but rather than it being He-Man as the hero, he's like, hey, I'm going to be like Billy Batson. I'm going to give you the power and you the power and you get a power. So, Tila and the entire crew, they all get an I have the power moment, and it becomes like a Captain Planet sort of thing.
Like I was saying, this is Maxwell Snyder and the young lady that played Aura from the movie.
Yeah. Was this the Queen soundtrack movie, or was that the earlier one?
Yeah, no, this is Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Queen.
Okay.
Well, Queen.
Flash.
Yeah, when she walked across the screen, everybody just like, what movie? I don't know what movie we're watching, but oh my god,
You're right, George. Zero shits have been given about it.
Considering how George is liking to use the word shit a lot, right now, it does remind me of another animated movie where there was a bit of controversy that came out back in 1986, 86, 87, around there, because one of the characters in a kid's movie actually did say the word shit. I'm talking about Transformers, the movie. Corey Burton as Spike actually at one point did say, "Oh shit," in it, and they didn't catch it. And it did cause, I guess, a little bit of controversy because, of course, this was supposed to be a kids' movie.
Well, the reason they did the movie was to go from Generation 1 toys to Generation 2 toys. The problem is that there was a lot of kids that were so enveloped with the Transformers, and I was still, I think I was a teenager at the time. When Optimus Prime died in the movie,
yeah, they fucked up.
That's when they messed that up big time. So they ended up having to do another movie to bring him back because they were like, "Oh, we got to fix this because if we don't, our sales are going to go down."
Oh, it wasn't a movie. If you recall, it was part of the TV series.
It was 3
parts. It was like I think it was towards the end of the third season.
He resurrected as Optimus White. Optimus the White.
they did it in 3 parts to bring him back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember that one. And the thing was, the movie was such. I mean, the movie did really good. It got Orson. It was Orson Welles' last movie he ever did because he died about like 8 months later.
Orson Welles, Leonard Nimoy. It was glorious.
Oh,
at least Orson didn't go out with that frozen peas commercial being the last thing he did.
No, he was Unicron. Boy, he did Unicron. Oh man, Orson did Unicron so well.
Yeah, he did Unicron, and Leonard Nimoy was Galvatron.
Yeah,
they were replaced in the third season with Jack Angel and Frank Welker, respectively.
Well, I mean, you have to understand, Orson Welles had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, he was like right there at the end, and they were surprised that he did it. They were not expecting him to do it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll come and do it."
Well, another. There were a number of deaths that happened to some of those voice actors around that time. Because that was, I think, one of Scatman Carruthers' last role too. Jazz in that movie because he passed away like shortly after that, and then like a year after that too, Roger C. Carmel, who also passed away, who in the movie and in the third season he had voiced Cyclonus. He had also voiced Motormaster, few voices. But then by the time they got to the quote unquote fourth season, when on the American side they were trying to introduce the Headmaster series.
Yeah, that one got a little crazy. Because they're trying to come up with new toys.
It's like by the time you got to the fourth season, like okay, in Japan did actually do the Headmaster series, did a full season. America only got to like 3 episodes, and then they just said, "Nah, this isn't working." So
the problem was the toys, and the animated series went with the toys. All the animation series, except for Thundercats, were based on a toy line. If you look at the series, they were based on a toy line. And the thing was, when Thundercats came out, it was such a huge hit. They're like, okay, we got to come up with something else. So then you had Tiger Sharks, you had Silverhawks, you had Galaxy Rangers, you had all those shows, come out right behind it to feed off of the off the Thundercats.
A
And you
lot
had
of
all those going.
independent syndicated animated series.
And then you had the other company that was doing like the Bionic Six and the Centurions and stuff like that. So back then you had a good supply of action-packed cartoons. And the problem, they finally figured out that it was cheaper to run news organizations on Saturday mornings than it was to do these cartoons because the cartoons were costing so much. And that's why you saw a lot of the cartoons go from midday and on Saturday mornings away because they went to the news. And they were like, well, it's cheaper to run the news in the mornings and do reports and stuff than to do the cartoons.
Well, they used to have in the news was like at the end of every cartoon or at 11 o'clock. They just like, but they aimed it.
Right. They would do it right at 11 o'clock. They'd go from cartoons to the news. And then they decided that, it's cheaper just to run the news all morning than it is to do the cartoons. And that's when you saw a lot of the cartoons go away.
Well, yeah, the idea of Saturday morning died out, I think, by 2010. I mean, they had still.
I think it was earlier. I think it was earlier than that. I think it was earlier than that. I think it was like the late 90s is when they started taking it apart.
Well, okay, it started to wind down in the 90s, but it didn't like completely go away until like 2010.
Well, I think it went away when Cartoon Network came in. When Cartoon Network launched, because they had everything in the kitchen sink. The old Cartoon Network was fantastic. They really knew what they were doing. Today's Cartoon Network is a complete disaster. And but yeah, back then when Cartoon Network first came out, it was fantastic. You had all the classic cartoons, you had all the animation cartoons, you had everything together, and it was on one channel. And then that's when and I think that's what Disney was trying to do when they first launched the Disney Channel back in the 80s.
Back when you had to pay extra for it.
Well, that's when you had to pay for it, yeah. But the problem was they didn't have enough material to run a complete channel.
No, they had the material. It was just it was what do you call it? It was a diminishing asset.
Yeah, but like I said, they didn't have. After a few months, you just got tired of the same stuff.
Yeah, that's a diminishing asset.
Yeah. So
in 2011, the major networks began to phase out weekend morning educational programming.
Okay, educational. Go back and look at Saturday morning cartoons.
In favor of live action, reality, and docu-dramas. So I knew by like 2010, 2011, it pretty much had died out by then.
Yeah.
But they were, as you noted, yes, they were starting to phase it out even earlier. Back in the 90s there.
And also, if you have not heard the big news of Funimation is merging with Crunchyroll, and Funimation is going away. Sony is closing the doors on Funimation.
Well, that's about time.
Well,
okay.
I thought it was going to be the other way around.
Is it like the entirety of Funimation, or is it just the streaming service?
The entirety.
So so you're saying that even their dub voice actors are probably going to be canned?
No, they're going to Crunchyroll. They're being absorbed by Crunchyroll.
Yeah, they're just moving to a different department. That's all.
Basically,
there's going to probably be some downs because I do know Crunchyroll had their they do have some of their own voice actors as well.
But see, some of the voice actors for Funimation does Crunchyroll also. They're not tied 100%. I'll explain how Funimation and everybody in Japanese animation do their stuff. They contract certain actors for that show. Mm-hmm. That's it. Once that show's over with, those actors are free to work wherever they want to. Mm-hmm. And they can do multiple shows at a time as long as it doesn't affect the other show.
And here I just recently got my full access press pass to Funimation.com. I can watch anything they've got.
Well, what they're going to do is probably move because I've had both Funimation and Crunchyroll because they have different things, but they're moving everything from Funimation over to Crunchyroll. Everything's going over there. So all the new stuff.
There's going to probably be some form of downsizing because
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
I mean, yeah,
there'll be a lot of. I mean, because I know Crunchyroll had their set of voice actors. Funimation obviously had
well,
their.
it's not
No,
just that.
no, some of them are going to be
No.
gone
Well,
because
see, you have a third entity involved here too that a lot of people don't bring up is Viz, because a lot of the shows that are showing on Crunchyroll and on Funimation belong to Viz. That's why you can't buy it off their website. You have to go to Viz to get it. Case in point, Inuyasha. Case in point, Bleach. Case in point, that those are all Viz properties. Naruto, Boruto, those are Viz properties. And if you want the DVDs, which I have the DVDs, you got to go to Viz because Viz licensed them out. So it's actually going to save Viz some money, everything going to Crunchyroll for streaming. But it's the actors are all going to be are all working between Viz, Funimation, and Crunchyroll. They all work together. They don't. It's not. Oh, we have this little set here at Crunchyroll. No, it's a whole. It's a whole.
well, it's become like that in the last few years. There was
because
a time like in the 90s and 2000s
yeah,
when
not since probably 2001. Because when
well,
Bandai.
I think it happened later than that. I think it was more like late. I think
No.
I
Because
think
I'll
I think
explain
they were
why.
still because I think they were still going on because you still had ADV active well into 2007 2008, and
The
even
ADV and what's the other one? Central Park. What is it? Central Park West. I think it was.
Central Park Media I know has closed down, but TVCI is still active.
No, they all got absorbed by Funimation. ADV got absorbed. Manga Corp's got absorbed. They all got
But
absorbed.
Sentai's still running as kind of separate.
No. Let me explain something. Sentai is not like ADV. Sentai is the guys that actually produce the animation. Okay, ADV bought just like Funimation does, Crunchyroll does, buys the rights to produce to sell and to stream in the United States.
Yeah,
that's what you still see in Funimation and on Crunchyroll. Animeflex. Animeflex is the title company.
Sentai does that too through High Dive. They'll show the stuff through High Dive. They'll get some of the problems. Granted, Sentai's not as big as Funimation.
What I'm saying is, High Dive is the company that's running it. It's just like when you print books. Okay, you have publishing companies, Penguin House, Random Mill, all those companies. They're publishing companies. They use the same printer. See the difference? It's the same thing with Funimation, Crunchyroll, High Dive, all of them. They get the animation from the same place, depending on who they sign with. They're just out there showing it in their regions.
Yeah, it's more or less Funimation. I guess Sony now has essentially become a monopoly because Sentai will still buy up some properties from
but again, what I'm saying is Sentai is one that I'll explain, just like Bandai. I'm going to make a new cartoon based on my comic books, based on my novels. Sentai comes to me saying, we will actually make your animation for you, and then we'll market it for you. Funimation comes in and says, hey, this is new coming out. We want to stream it and have all the rights to distribute it here in the States. We'll pay you for it. So they pay Sendai for the rights here in the States. As
I understood it, Sentai was actually, for all intents and purposes, was kind of a success for it because a lot of the people who worked at ADV, a lot of the voice actors, and a lot of the production team, a lot of the people who were doing the dubs and all that for Sentai, a lot of them were originally with ADV. So as I saw it, they,
what I'm saying is
Sentai was somewhat of a.
But again, with Sentai, Funimation, Crunchyroll, and even Viz, they're not the actual company that's producing the American versions. They're licensing the videos for the American versions.
Yeah, they're licensing the Japanese property to distribute and to do the dubs, to record the dubs.
Sentai is further back where they're actually helping make the original Japanese. Just like Bandai is.
I don't know any of this stuff.
I know it's complicated. It's
That's why I'm just kind of like, I'm just shut my mouth.
the weird thing about companies here in the States try to buy licensing to get stuff from overseas. And once they get it, that's when your dubbing comes in. That's when you do things like that. But 90% of animation comes out of Bandai. They're the big, them or TV Tokyo. Those are the two big guys. It's not,
We're talking about Japanese animation, by the
I'm
way.
talking about the Japanese animation. That means everything: Bleach, Naruto, all that stuff. It's
I know
out of
Bandai, they're the Power Rangers people.
Power Rangers is more of a live action thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's still Bandai, right?
Yeah, but Bandai and TV Tokyo are the two big giants, and they do everything. And then you have Shogun Jump, which they're the big manga boys. And Shogun Jump is the one that's got everybody almost. So, and Shogun Jump.
I remember back in the 2000s when, as I always put it, there were, like, for the dubbing side of it, where you had, like, basically, as I used to call them, the dub capitals. Okay, you had the two up in Canada. You had Ocean Studios in Vancouver, and then its subsidiary over in Calgary, Blue Water. You had New York, which of course Central Park Media was more the generalized one, and then you had, of course, 4Kids was also based in New York. You did have out here in LA, you had like Jenny on Pioneer, Bang Zoom, and then
right. When Funimation got going, they were here in DFW.
Yeah, and then in Houston was ADV.
Yeah,
so
Houston was ADV. Yep. Exactly.
As we're talking, let's make it a little more interesting.
Lino?
No. It's one of the characters in my story.
Okay.
Actually, though, he does kind of look like Lino, though.
He won't by the time it's over with. So, was the Batman rated R? I don't recall.
I think it was.
Because I'm thinking if it was, there was only one reason for that. Because there was not a lot of, I don't recall any blood or gore.
Well, there was a good scene.
There was? Did I fall asleep? Because no, there was one police officer that dropped an F-bomb. And I was like, oh, there's our R rating right there. And then it never happened again. So who are you drawing here, George?
It's one of the characters in my book. This is an element in the overall panel.
Okay, but this can't be the Joe King book because that's done and being sent to the printers. It's
no. It's not sent to the printers. I'm waiting for what we call the backers, all the backers to respond. If I have their permission to send their backer information to Critical Blast or not.
They won't give it to you. They hate me. They know I sell it to the Russians.
The majority have said yes so far, but I still have to wait until everyone responds. So while I'm waiting,
that's very ethical of you. Most people haven't said anything about it. They just ship it to me.
Yeah, well, it wasn't advertised that I was going to be using Critical Blast because at the time I actually had the campaign. Logistics, Critical Blast logistics, wasn't
wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
Okay. The Batman is PG-13.
Oh, it is PG-13. So you're allowed one F-bomb in a PG-13. So there it was.
Yeah. So,
and I will say this about the logistics.
So while I'm waiting, I'm just going in there and actually doing a little more polish.
Cool.
Checking to make sure my spelling's still correct, my grammar's correct, all that stuff. And then I sit back and think about it. Go, you know what? I can add another element to that panel. I might as well do it while I wait.
And this is what it'll look like when George gets done.
Is that yours?
No, that's too many lines. Can't do it. Drive me crazy.
That looks like Keanu.
Nope. Try again.
Well, it's not Van Sciver. It's I have no idea who that is.
Is that Bissett? Bissett?
Can you figure out the signature?
Nope. It does look like Stephen Bissett, though.
Notice where it's from.
Nope.
What
Can't
does
see
it say
that
right,
big.
what does it say right there?
Image. I can see that now. I blew
Okay.
up my screen.
Okay.
So it's an image book. That much I got. But I can't make out that signature to save my life. Nor can I tell the characters apart from anybody else in Image from the early days because they all were blade axe, blood sword, battle man things. So.
Anybody in the chat want to take a guess before I say it?
Ain't nobody in the chat. They're all gone.
It's Stephen Platt's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was another good.
His Soul Saga. That's two of his pages.
He was another excellent artist.
He still is.
What's he doing now?
Last time I saw, he was doing something over in Marvel.
Totally lost track of him.
I think he's over in Marvel right now, or he may just be doing freelance.
No. Let's take a little bit more look at George's thing here, and then we've been at it for an hour. It's time to close it out. And apparently, Australia gets mail on Sundays because I just got notified that my packages of Red Eyes #2 have arrived at my Australian hub, and he's now awaiting addresses and postage. So I'm waiting for confirmation back from him that he's ready to do this thing. So, we work 24/7. By the way, I've actually had people approach me about the names on the lists that I get for fulfillment, and I said, I don't know what you want it for. I don't care what you want it for. I don't keep it. Nobody gets it. I mean, I keep it for a reasonable amount of time in case, the guy says, hey, backer number 60 didn't get his thing. Can you send him another one? Then I know who backer number 60 is. But yeah, it's I don't care if you want to send them all $100 checks. That stuff does not go out because I value my business and I would like to keep it a little longer.
Yay.
So this guy wears green. These are flats, though.
No, it's green. The funny thing about coloring is that if you do a dark scene or a wet scene, I usually just have the colors flat without any shade.
I love how this layering concept works with digital. It's like, just color it. Don't worry about going outside the lines because those lines will come back up in front.
Yeah, right now there's three layers to this particular element.
I hate layers in PowerPoint because I keep trying to click on a layer and I keep clicking the layer in front of it and I can never get to the layer behind it. So I'm like, okay, send this one to the back. And then I never get it back. It's like, I never get them stacked right again.
Yeah, actually,
Wish it was like an alt-tab way.
Yeah, this past week, I tried, as I told you guys, I'd been starting to cover wrestling a little bit more. And
yeah.
I know with Lorenzo, one of the discussions I was trying to explain to him the territorial history of the NWA. That was how professional wrestling was a territorial business prior to the national expansion of the 80s. And it's like even he said it sounded complicated, which it can be,
Well, actually, it was territorial all the way until the 90s.
Well, in a way, you're right there, but there was the national expansion of the 80s where it started to go away because a lot of the old territories started getting absorbed by the WWF and WCW at the time.
Well, actually, on that, and I'll elaborate. In the 80s, there was actually four. Well, I take it back. There was actually 5 big companies in the 80s. You had the AWA, which is out of Minnesota,
right,
controlled by Vern Gagne.
Right.
You had the WWF, which was McMahon. You had Tennessee, which was controlled by Jarrett.
Continental Wrestling Association. That was Lawler and Jarrett.
Then you had it also became Mid Southwest, and then you had Crockett Promotions, which was down in Georgia.
Mhm.
Then you had the Funk Territories, which was basically West Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and part of Oklahoma.
Well, actually, they closed up by 81.
Well, no, they were still around. I'll explain what happened with them. You
Well,
also
Western
had
states had closed down in 81. If you're talking about how they may have gotten absorbed by World Class, then
no,
yeah, I can see your
see, World Class was in Arlington, in basically Dallas.
right.
Then you had Bosch down in Houston. Those are the big guys. You also had Oregon Territory, which controlled the West Coast.
Well, okay. On the West Coast, you had you had the Northwest Territory run by Don Owens, and that was Oregon. Portland was the home base, but you also did cards in Washington, Idaho, and by the 80s, they had expanded into Idaho and into Western Canada, and they were doing co-work with NWA Vancouver, and then in California, you had Northern California, which was Roy Shire's territory, which closed in 81.
Right.
And then you had the LA territory,
Right.
NWA Hollywood.
Yeah, it was going down to bigger companies in the early 80s. And it went down to about 4. And then it went down to 3, and then it finally went to the 2, and then it went to the 1. And the problem was the company that really took off with the national television, national everything, global television, and everything like that, was not Crockett or WWF. It was WCCW down here in Arlington, the Von Erich territory. They went global. They were the first ones to go global. Because
broadcasting wise.
Yeah, broadcasting wise. McMahon's idea was if he couldn't get Hogan, that he would go after Kerry. Back in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm. He eventually did get Kerry, but after
that was I'm saying this is back when Kerry. I'm talking about back when Kerry was in his prime.
Right.
And
back before his accident, and he lost his foot and all that.
Yeah, that was later on. But that's when everything was going like that, and he got Hogan. The thing is McMahon.
Wait, he lost his foot in the ring?
No, he lost in a motorcycle wreck. But in a match
in the mid '80s,
and I'll tell you the infamous match, the infamous match that happened. It happened at a house show, and it was Kerry versus Kurt Hennig. And
Kerry versus who?
Kurt Hennig.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, Kurt Hennig. Okay.
And Hennig basically pulled his boot off and took his foot with it.
That would have been a great gag. If the guy who lost his foot in a motorcycle accident would keep it quiet, and then
no, they did keep it quiet. That was the whole thing. It was quiet. Nobody knew.
His next wrestling match, he would find a way to get to the stage without showing that he got a limp, and then during the wrestling, somebody would pull his leg off.
George, you understand something? Every match that Kerry did in WWF was with a fake foot. That's how good he was.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, every match you see Kerry Von Erich in WWF, he's missing a foot.
Wait. So he didn't take advantage of the golden opportunity to lose a foot during the match?
No, okay, George, this is the 80s. You don't play that game.
Oh, jeez.
Okay?
And they were more serious then.
And the other thing was the wrestlers didn't know. Nobody knew in the ring or even in the back. They didn't know. And
it's not like today where you can get stuff like bam up here.
And when Hennig pulled that boot off in the middle of the match, Hennig flipped out.
So he did lose the foot in a fight in front of people. He lost his prosthetic.
Yeah.
But nobody knew it.
Nobody knew it. And Hennig just totally lost it. He thought he really had really done something bad to Kerry, And
Oh God!
that's what you see. That's after that happened. You saw Kerry less and less on television, and finally he went back home.
I hope that event is on the internet somewhere, because that would be fun to watch Hennig flip out.
But it's just very sad on how things went with those guys.
And the ironic thing is, Kerry, for as talented as he was not. I don't think he was actually considered the most talented of the Von Erich.
No. He wasn't. He wasn't. The most talented was David.
Right.
David was the most talented, and everybody talks about that he died of drug. He didn't die of a drug overdose in Japan. That's not what happened. What happened was he had eaten a lot, he had drank and stuff like that, but he had bleeding ulcers that were in his stomach and in his intestine. And he went to bed and his intestines ruptured. And he died while he was asleep.
Yeah, as I recall, the actual cause of his death, I think it was acute enteritis.
Yeah, because the when it ruptured, that's what got him, and that's what killed him.
And the thing is, of the 5 Von Erich kids, only Kevin is still alive.
Yeah, and Kevin. Well, I'll explain. The oldest son died when they were all young. He was electrocuted in Buffalo.
Yeah, the baby. Yeah,
and Kevin was the oldest of the living Von Erichs. He was the oldest. And the difference between, and this is what it was, the difference between Kevin and the rest of his brothers was Kevin would go home to his wife and kids. And that's what saved him. I mean, he had his demons, but that's what saved him. And now,
probably the guilt of being the lone survivor, because
that's what he said. He said
because basically, if you recall, we just
talked about his brothers.
Yeah,
he buried all of his brothers, and he said it on many interviews. He had guilt for so long. This way, he doesn't even live in Texas.
Wait, he had survivor's guilt?
Yeah, he did. Because his
4 younger brothers all died. 3 of them in a very tragic manner.
He thought if he had been smarter, he could have stopped it. Now, the thing with which one was it? Mike. Mike, the way he died and everything like that can be attributed to the trip they did to Israel. Because Mike got a staph infection in the brain.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's not the one. He didn't commit suicide. That was.
He did.
No, he did.
Yeah, but the staph infection, when he came back, he was never the same. It really messed him up mentally, and that's the one they found in the sleeping bag. He took pills out by the lake.
Yeah.
Because
one of the things I remember.
He was always in pain.
Well, with Mike too, one of the things I remember reading somewhere was of the Von Erich. He actually apparently did not necessarily want to be
a wrestler,
ring performer.
He got in the ring because he wanted to do it to represent David. When David died, that was the difference.
And if anything, he felt like he was there was some pressure put on him by Fritz. And then in Chris's case, Chris wanted to be like his brothers in the ring, but Chris was just way too small and also had some medical issues that really kind of prevented him from having.
Well, Chris did get in the ring, but the problem with Chris, and this is it's a rare disease. He had brittle bone syndrome.
That's not good to have as a wrestler.
Wait a minute.
What happened?
You mean he was glass?
Basically, yeah. He basically was wrestling. He didn't know it. He was wrestling a match with Kevin as his tag team partner, and he took a simple bump and broke both his wrists. And he rolled over and tagged Kevin to go back to finish the match. And that's when he was diagnosed. When they took him to the hospital for his bones, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't wrestle anymore. Your bones are just nothing but chalk, basically." And it just destroyed him. And that's
Drinking milk, boys and girls.
Everything he wanted to do was wrestling, and then that was it. He was like, "Nope, I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with it."
Well, to make a wrestling segue here, that scene you just did, that's gorgeous, George.
That's just a rough panel.
Him leaping into that hole is awesome. So before we tag out here, I just want to bring to everybody's attention that we do have another Batman, and he will be on the big screen this summer, and it will be Keanu Reeves. So,
Keanu Reeves? Are you saying Michael Keaton?
No, I'm saying whoa, Keanu Reeves.
Please explain.
There is a movie coming out, animated DC League of Super Pets. And Keanu Reeves is voicing Batman in it.
Oh, jeez.
But here's with Michael Keaton coming back. He's now signed for 3 movies.
Oh, right on.
Seriously, Michael Keaton has signed for 3 movies to play Batman. 3.
Right on, man.
Wait a second now. Hold on. He's in Batgirl, and he's in Flash. What's the third one?
They haven't said.
Is
that going to be maybe the Batman Beyond one?
Well, no. The way I understand it, they're doing a storyline for Batman Beyond with Batgirl.
Okay. Oh, that's going to be Batman Beyond. So yeah, there is. It's just this animated one, but we can.
Actually, one of the things I read recently when I was doing my newscast, think in the comic more, Batman Beyond, Order of the White Knight or something like that.
Oh yeah, the Sean Gordon Murphy one.
Yeah, they're apparently race swapping him, trying to make him Asian now. Which just totally jacks the continuity that was established in the animated series.
Well, wait a minute. If they're going to make Terry McGinnis Asian, they can get away with that by one thing.
What, the fact that he had slanted eyes in the show?
No, just hold on, man, Mike. Hold on. What I'm saying is they can get away with it real simple. All they have to say is that they took Bruce's DNA and gave it to the test subject, because in Batman Beyond, it was proven that it was Bruce's DNA that was mixed with Terry's mom, and that actually Terry's Bruce's kid.
Yep.
And all they got to do is say the mother was Asian, and there you go.
There you go. That would take care of it. Michael Keaton's been super busy. Are you sure the third movie you're not thinking of is Morbius?
No. He signed 3 for Batman.
Oh wow! So and by the way, when he's in Morbius,
he's Vulture.
Is he supposed to be the Vulture?
Yeah. Yep. He's Vulture again.
Yeah.
I liked him as the Vulture.
He's totally awesome. The moment he looked back and he was in the car with Tom Holland, and he looks back, and he tells Peter that he knows his identity and he better not fuck around with this kid, right? I go like, holy shit, that was freaking scary. That was legitimately well acted, scary as fuck.
He was.
When everybody was complaining about Michael Keaton as Batman when it was first announced, before he got to do the role, like Mr. Mom Gung Ho, I'm like, oh, you're all a bunch of people who've never seen Pacific Heights.
No. The thing was, I didn't know Michael Keaton except out of those movies that he did, like Beetlejuice and stuff. I didn't know that. I didn't know who he was, because I just saw him in Beetlejuice. He's going to play Batman, and I'm sitting there watching the movie, and I'm like going, "Wow."
Well, Michael Keaton originally is a comedian. He started off as a comedian.
Yeah.
And if you look, history tells us some of the best actors ever to come out of Hollywood are comedians.
Yes.
Hands down, there has been no comedian that has done a dramatic role that has not been awesome.
I'll tell you one of the funniest guys in the world, and he's played more horror movies with Price, not Price, but with Lee and Cushing, was Vincent Price. You see him on his interviews and stuff. He is hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just downright hilarious.
Well, aside from the movies that Vincent Price did, he also voiced Vincent Van Gogh in the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo as well.
Oh, yeah. But, I'm saying, Have you ever seen his skit that he did with Johnny Carson, where he cooked fish in a washing machine?
Yes.
That is hilarious. And he keeps a straight face. I'm like, I don't know how he's doing this, but
No, he's a pro. I mean, he's literally
he's
a pro.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's got a heart of gold, and you just sitting like that. It's just, oh my goodness.
I mean, as another comedian, I mean, Ronnie Dangerfield, when he did that movie,
yes.
I forgot the one with, I forgot the name of the movie, but he was a scary abusive father in that movie. And
I haven't seen that one.
No,
it's an older movie.
I forgot the name of the movie. Okay. Well, let's just put it this way. I mean, he was really, really scary as an abusive father. It was one of the horrific. He didn't do anything. He was just sitting on the couch, and he was Natural born killers. He was downright scary in that movie.
Well,
yeah, I mean, Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah,
Robin Williams in a bunch of his movies. He can go from comedy to serious in like flip of a switch.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, just incredible. And then
we just mentioned Keanu Reeves, and look, he went from Bill and Ted to John Wick.
No. He went from Bill and Ted to what's called Speed, and then eventually, where's the Matrix?
Places.
once he did the Matrix, then everything else, like the Samurai movie, a bunch of other movies, stuff like that.
I know. Wasn't there a while back when Keanu was also doing a comic book, like last year?
He's still doing it. His character, Berserk, is one of the best-selling comic books in the last 3 years.
I got all the issues. I'm a backer of it.
But look at Tom Hanks. He started off as comedian television series and like that, and then you get Private Ryan.
Jim Carrey.
Yep.
Jim Carrey.
And
but now he's gone back to comedy.
Forrest Gump.
But Jim Carrey's gone back to comedy because he's doing the Sonic movies. And I'll say this: the Sonic movies saved his career because the movies before the Sonic movies just completely crashed and burned on him.
Well, what was the last? I think the last thing I saw him in before Sonic was Kick-Ass 2.
The one I saw was the one where he was the old guy.
Wait, he was in Kick-Ass 2?
Yes. Yeah, you're like me. You didn't recognize him.
No, he was the guy in the gun. He had all the guns and like that, and then he batted the movie after he did it.
He was Captain Carnage.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
But no, the one that he did where he was the old guy in the house.
That's the panel right there.
Very nice. I don't know which one he would have been, the old guy in the house.
It was based on a book and stuff, but the old guy who was in the house, he got the kids moved in with him.
A series of unfortunate events. That was a Netflix series.
Oh, Lenny something.
Yeah, Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. I like that show.
They didn't do very well.
Wait a second. He might not have been playing the character in the series. I think he played it in the movie. The movie didn't do very well.
Yeah, the movie didn't do very well.
The Netflix series was much better because they got what's his name, Putty from Seinfeld to narrate it. He was playing Lemony Snicket at the beginning of every episode, and he did a fantastic deadpan job of the whole delivery.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I want to say this about the Batman movie, The Penguin, fantastic.
I like the Penguin.
I did.
I like the Riddler, and I think I'm going to like the character they showed at the end of the film too.
I don't think they actually showed us the Riddler. I think what's going on is that. Give me a sec. Let me give you my thesis. I think the Riddler. The reason why the final act caved so a lot of people say they didn't like the final act. My thinking is that the Riddler actually has not shown himself. He's used proxies throughout the movie, and I think they're going to bring it back in say part 3 of this particular run of Batman, where
are they doing a part 3 or are they just doing 2?
Well, right now originally they said that they weren't going to even talk about doing sequels until they gauge the audience reaction. When they got the first reactions coming out, they said, "Okay, great, we're doing sequels.
Yeah, and Matt Reeves has said that if he ever introduces Robin, he'll be like 12 or 13 years old. He's going to do original Robin, not grown up Chris Robin.
The thing that got me, and it was the post scene.
The post scene.
You didn't stay through the credits?
No, everybody looked up on the internet and said there was no post scene.
No, there's a post scene.
Okay, go on.
Well, okay.
Okay, I'll tell you what the post scene is.
Spoilers, everybody. Spoilers, blah, blah,
Spoilers,
blah.
everybody, but
spoilers.
stick around for the
spoilers. Runway.
No, I watched like the big credits, and then it went right to the little credits. Where names and people looking at them said, "Yeah, there's no post credit scene."
No, there's a scene where they're in Arkham.
Well, yeah, that was before the credits.
Was it before? I thought it was where here's the other voice talking to him.
Yeah, that's
and you see the silhouette in the window.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. I thought it was post credits. I'm sorry, but that right there. Yeah, I think they're going to go with that. More like with an Arkham's Knights for the next one. But as the Riddler's done, I think the Riddler is done. I think this was it, but I don't think he's done. If you know what I'm saying.
Well, I get what George is saying because there were all those proxy characters that were dressed the same for that one scene, and George is saying, well, why not also the one that they capture at the end as the bad guy being one more proxy, and everything was being, strings were being pulled from beyond that.
Because we write stories, and we're dealing with Hollywood who don't write stories.
Well, yeah. There is that, but one day you're on top, the next day you're a clown.
Yeah, I think you're going to see the other guy come in, who I'm not going to say. I'm trying to keep quiet, and break out. I think that's what will happen.
Oh yeah, they'll break out together.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to happen. I think.
So I'm all for it. I went in skeptical. I was not crazy about the images I saw of Robert Pattinson, but getting to see him move.
I thought he did a good job as Batman.
Yeah,
not as Bruce Wayne. I thought he did a terrible job, and that's because of how they wrote it. Bruce Wayne.
Well, remember this Bruce Wayne barely interacted with anybody. He wasn't the man about town playboy.
He wasn't the persona that you saw. Because, the real face of Bruce Wayne is Batman. Okay.
Yeah.
His persona that he does in public is Bruce Wayne. And
he didn't do public at all. Almost.
He didn't. He's chinched over. He's basically Batman without his costume on. I'm not going. Okay, this is like, oh look, I'm Clark Kent. Oh look, I'm Superman.
Yeah. What was that story in the comic books where it was the Riddler all of the entire time? Hush, yeah. That's why I say the Riddler hasn't presented himself in the first movie.
Well, see, in this one, this one reminded me of The Long Halloween and Hush, kind of mixed.
Yeah.
But the problem that got me was it had those points of it's dragging. We need to keep the flow going. It's dragging.
3 hours, almost 3 hours.
It is 3 hours. 3 hours and 55 minutes.
It took place over the course of 6 days, and it felt like it.
2 hours, 55 minutes, not 3 hours, 55 minutes.
Sorry, 2 hours, 55 minutes. But he said he cut an hour out of the movie. I was like, oh my God, it's 4 hours long.
Bring on the Reeves cut. I want the Reeves cut.
No, I don't. I mean, I was like, oh my God. The other Batman
I like the Snyder cut, so I'm all for the Reeves cut.
Batman movies, you had good pacing in. The Nolan Batman movies, you had good pacing.
And that scene with the Batmobile, that was like a horror scene.
That was like the car.
And,
that's what I'm saying. Remember the horror movie, The Car?
Uh-huh.
Remember that movie with the black?
Yeah.
That's what I'm sitting there. I'm like going.
Yeah, that whole scene with the Batmobile. They paid homage to the '66. That was awesome. But the car itself was just a freaking horror scene. You put it up there with the any horror film, like was it Was it
I was saying
Carrie?
the car.
Carrie,
Carrie in the car, yeah.
Christine. The one where all the cars come to life. Duel.
Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive. Duel. Mad Max. The original Mad Max. All that stuff, right? It's that car just was scary as heck. And then when
I got my son the $100 Lego version, the big one, and it looks awesome.
I'm like, to me, I'm sitting here going like, okay, you got millions of dollars, and you're driving that.
That was a pretty freaking serious that. I mean, I thought the same thing. Like, wait, what is that? Like forgot the name of the car. Jeez.
It looked like
a Mustang. It looked like a Mustang.
Yeah.
All right.
I like the Batmobile that John Byrne had.
Is that a Mustang? You're like, wait a minute. And then when you see it in action, actually getting bumped and all that, okay, this is a seriously armored car. That's freaking awesome.
But I like the Batmobile that John Byrne put in Man of Steel when he has the first meeting between Superman and Batman, because I'm like, Batman would not be like showy and presenting as like, look at my badass car I'm driving down the street louder than anything. He'd be like, no one notices me.
Yeah,
but this car is built to withstand impact, go fast, and carry a crime computer.
Yeah, it's a quiet.
But it looks like.
It's a quiet, nondescript car.
Yeah.
Well, remember,
it should look like a Chevy.
It was just in a regular car.
Yeah.
All he had was a bat logo on the front, and that was it.
Did he even have the logo on the front?
The comic books, that's what it was. It was a regular car with a bat logo on the front.
Yeah. And at one point, it just had a big bat head on the front.
Actually, the golden age, that's what the Batmobile was. It was a regular car with. It didn't become specialized, I think, or specialized design until the Silver Age.
You know what would have been a great Batmobile? The car that Sylvester Stallone used in Cobra that was and make it bulletproof.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, I'll tell you this. I found this out. He still has that car.
Ooh.
Well, he still has the original turtles from Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they live a long time.
They do. But it's one of those things. But like I said, I can nitpick the movie. I mean, I think it was overhyped for my taste. I mean, it was good. But I'm not going to say it was, oh my God, it's the best movie I've seen all year, which it's not. So, I mean, I still say
you're not going to hear me say anything like that about anything that's modern.
No. Now I will say this: a really good movie that's out there that I went to see it in the theater twice, and I saw it both Japanese version is Belle. Belle is fantastic.
I have heard that one's actually pretty good.
That movie I don't know why it got snubbed by the Oscars. I really don't, but it should have. It would destroy anything Disney's got.
More than likely because it wasn't woke enough for them, probably.
No, there's nothing woke about it. It's a great,
and that's probably why it got snubbed, because it wasn't woke.
But it was great. It was just unbelievably good movie. Animation is top notch. I'll put it right there with Akira when it comes to animation.
Well, guys, I have got to get some rest here. It's been a long day, so I'm going to wrap things up.
As we're closing out, why don't we at least give everybody one last shot to promote something or
that's routine. That's routine, and we'll start with you.
All right. Well, as you all know, I do Monday. I do the mic stand Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday, we do kind of niche newscast where I go over articles from sources like Bounding into Comics. When he puts articles up, Critical Blast, CBR, and then on Fridays, of course, we do the historical comic retrospect, where my senior moderator Matt Good and I we look back over vintage, basically doing a historical comic retrospect. We look back at old comics, read through them. I do the voices as well, for entertainment purposes, but also we look at things like word usage analysis, language analysis, how they communicated. We look at comparative social commentary in terms of how things were back then, what was considered socially acceptable, socially appropriate compared to today. Just kind of do a little bit of everything with that. This past Friday, of course, we were looking through Feature Funnies Volume 1, number 15 from Quality Comics, in which we, of course, we read the Clock feature by Georgie Brenner, or as RJ can tell you, we affectionately call him Captain Napkin Face. And then Espionage with Black X from Will Eisner. This Friday, of course, we're starting our November 1938 coverage. We'll be looking through DC. I'll be including, reading the Zatara story, the Zulu Diamond Mine out of Action Comics number 7, as well as the return of Fuyon Yui in Detective Comics Volume 1, number 22, the Slam Bradley story. And of course, by this point in time, New Adventure had become Adventure Comics. So that's about the long and the short. And of course, as I've been saying, I've also been starting to incorporate more wrestling news, as we have the Crockett Cup coming up in a couple weeks here for NWA. So that's a pretty interesting thing to look forward to. So I guess that's about the long and the short of it from my end. So I guess next.
George, share screen. 1936 Undersea Kingdom. I'm about to show. I'm about to show you one of the first concept of the Batmobile. About to make an appearance.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's me and Danelli talking. Okay, so I'm not talking in this. Okay, just watch.
Dun, 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 dun. The Last Crusade.
It's a bit slow, but
wait. When
He getting rid of the horse.
Yeah, I know.
The submarine went underwater. You don't have a submarine.
Jeez.
That's a pretty fast tank.
Some sort of a war tank.
looks like a fish, moves like a fish, steers like a cow.
We are the Cycons. We are your friend. We will shoot you with our loves and kisses. These are all
We
made
come in
of
peace,
heart and
Bill.
feeling.
So you see the car?
Yeah.
I'm gonna run away.
The car.
Run away, Herc! Run away!
Armored and with a fin on top. Very Batmobile-ish.
Run
Very
by
bad
that
jokes.
brother. Why do you run away from our loving feelings?
Why were you
These are
standing there
our
for 15
love
minutes before
guns.
while we're
They
getting out
only
of the car?
shoot our feelings.
So when did you air this, George?
Give me a sec, I'll tell you.
Because you run these shows on your channel every Friday and Saturday. Serials on Fridays, movies on Saturdays.
This was September 3, last year.
A ways back.
Yeah.
So. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was the reception to? Because I was driving and I tried to get in. But,
Yeah.
To the world premiere of Captain Marvel.
Okay, give me a sec. I'll go to my YouTube stats.
Because of what you did with Shazam.
Channel, YouTube studio. Here we go. The Captain Marvel thing was bonkers. And let's have a look.
Show us that transformation again with the sound on this time. Now that the world premiere is over.
Yeah. I'll EFAP it.
Yeah, because George did a lot of visual effects.
It's funny. I every time I hear that word, there's a different meaning that comes to mind when I hear it.
Yes. I had to look it up too. It's every frame a pause.
But I'm thinking of something a little more personal.
Yeah, but George has gone through.
You're thinking of flapping.
No, he's thinking of fapping without the E. But George has changed the visual effects on some of these 1940 serials and also the audio. And with what he's done with Captain Marvel here, can you make it any bigger?
Why is that guy standing with his eyes all crossed?
Scorpion.
Yes.
The stamina of Atlas.
Brie Larson fucking rules. You fucking suck, Billy.
The great courage of Achilles.
Yes,
Right,
she
right,
is.
You're wrong. The one who sucked was Brie Larson.
You must never call
The ability to strike, the ability to strike down
Don't break
YouTubes
my
like Liam
illusion.
Gray.
It's going to suck if they talk over your audio.
Oh, they wait. Just get along.
Brie Larson doesn't strike us.
rescue of your friends.
Yes.
That's clearly Brie Larson's playing Billy. You know that?
They did. They talked over your audio.
Yeah, she was in trans. Yeah, it's a roasting. Give me a sec. I'll play this one.
Power of Zeus, the great.
Listen carefully to the audio.
Yeah.
The wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas.
RJ, put us to the side. Move us off to the side and start.
The wisdom of Solomon.
Original audio.
Give it bigger that way.
The strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas.
Updated audio.
The power of Zeus, the great courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury.
There's a lot of static in the original.
You must never call upon this power except in the service of right. To do so would bring the scorpion's curse upon your own head.
And you become
And
Black
now,
Adam.
my son, repeat my name and return to the rescue of your friends.
Shazam!
So George had all the lightning effects,
And now,
whereas
my
they just
son,
threw smoke.
Repeat my name and return
Now
to
the
the
audio
rescue
changed.
of your friends.
Now, did you crib that from the '70s show?
No, it's like I modified their Shazam.
Be distributed among us. And another takes
The,
Scorpion itself.
And
in that way,
the 70 shows was inspiration because I really loved how the guy said Shazam from in the 70 show. I mean, like that's the kind of baritone, awesomeness that I want to duplicate.
With
So
the echo effect.
I took the audio from this series and I just bumped it and echoed it and gave it some more gravitas.
Sounded cool.
I actually, from what I learned when I was doing my previous studies on the historical comic stuff, apparently they did make serials as well. I guess movie serials as well of Congo Bill, Hawk Harrigan.
And it's on the list. Black Hawk as well. It's all on the list.
You'll get to see
Device
all
could
of
never
those
be
on
used
George's
without
channel.
the consent of all.
But what about the scroll? The scorpion is useless without it.
I suggest that Billy Batson be entrusted with the scroll.
Oh, but he's so young. How?
Oh, and we're coming up on the flash effect, right?
No, I didn't do it. I wanted to keep some effects in the movie.
Okay. Well,
Heroinberg just joined us as well.
Yeah, I see him. I just didn't want to cover the picture up.
Okay, so what I did was I took the original Captain Marvel trailer at that time and redid it. So what you're seeing now is the white between my updated version and the original version.
It's much
With the
crisper,
power
a
of
lot more
these lenses,
contrast.
I can turn the inside of this mountain into hot, molten rock. No one, not even Captain Marvel, can survive that.
Again, widescreened a little bit.
There you go.
Very, very nice.
Nice, George.
So, yeah, check out George's channel, youtube.com/George Peter Gatsis. He does the speed effect when Captain Marvel runs towards somebody, where he leaves the after images behind, like Christopher Reeves did in Superman when he was running. So,
Yeah,
a lot of labor of love here.
Yeah, this is like, it's never been done in what's it, 60, 70, 80 years. Yeah, it's been 80 years, 40, 60, another 20. Yeah, it's in 80 years. Nobody ever thought to actually cut the film together and also update the visual effects and do a cleanup on the audio and stuff like that. Everything
And it's
I've
public
seen
domain,
from
except
the
for George's
Blu-ray, everything I've seen from the Blu-rays to DVDs, all right, everything, it's all the same crap. It's all the same. It's like, I go, come on, guys.
Direct
it's just me, with a computer. You guys got millions of dollars and you can't even spend a little time to do a little polish on it.
All right, James.
Hey, big news. Stein's book 3 is almost done, so it'll be coming out in August. Stein's comic books are looking for the campaign probably to launch May. That gives me a little more time to get ready for it. May, for the mailer, and then probably June. Look at doing the actual campaign. But also, this week in history, 100 years ago today, not today, but this week, a couple of days ago, Nosferatu was released.
Yes.
The great Nosferatu.
The best vampire movie of all time.
And you can get a high definition digital copy, which I have, off of iTunes.
So it was not. It's not. Is it public domain?
I don't know, but I mean, you can have the new super high definition. I mean, with where it looks
Nosferatu is public domain.
But I'm saying the one they just did, which has got the whole thing put together, high definition, everything is crystal clear. Really looks fantastic. They released so.
No, see, what I did was what I did is under my copyright because because I actually modified it. But to do just a standard scan of the original, what do you call it, 35 or whatever millimeters, and just up-res it to 4K. That is not a copyright. That's just the original public domain content.
Yep.
If they put in new audio, then the audio would be in copyright, but not the actual film.
Well, like I said, it's the one that I got looks brand new. I mean, it is so crisp, and it's got they've upgraded the music and everything. So
yeah, so what they did was they put the sound under copyright, but they can't put the actual film itself under copyright.
So yeah,
pressing it doesn't fall in the copyright domain. By the way, share my screen. I have another big announcement to make.
Oh, okay, well, you give me a screen to share.
Sorry. Okay. Here we go.
George has another big announcement. Well, there it is. Big it's the same big announcement you made at the beginning of the show.
George,
we went back in time to see it.
The tundra, freezing everybody's butt.
All right. And on that note, guys, we will reconvene next Sunday. James, your schedule stays changed. I'll make sure you start getting links.
I'll let you know.
All right.
All right.
Everybody, thanks for showing up. Folks in the chat, appreciate you being here. We don't have a show without you. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.